Alright, hello everyone, welcome to a new vlog. I actually just finished the orientation section of my morning, so it is lunchtime now. That was a lot of information, but nothing that was too overwhelming because I feel like I prepared well. We kind of have some more generic orientation stuff this afternoon. One's an online session. I'm guessing they'd be showing us how to get familiar with the Brightspace application and make sure we know how to use that well, which I mean, now that I've done the courses and kind of been looking and clicking around to kind of understand that. But it's good to be able to ask them questions that come up. And then there's a Students Association orientation after that that goes over like all of the things probably that we need to be like aware of is it's just like generic stuff. Overall, pretty good today. I'll probably come back on a little later once all of these Zoom sessions are done and just talk a little bit about it. I have a few extra things I've added to my list because I found out one thing today that I need to make sure that I send in something. I'm gonna go and relax a little bit because with this light on in here, it's very hard on the eyes. I don't have great lighting today because of it being so cloudy. Now that I don't have anything on here that's really, I think, copyrighted, I can kind of show you. That's the update for now. Again, I'll come back later when I'm doing my review stuff that I want to get done for classes for tomorrow. Catch you then. Hey fam, so sorry I forgot to really vlog much last night. Kind of was frustrated with some technology issues. Just was trying to figure some things out, so I just didn't think about picking up the camera. So today was the first day of classes. I just actually finished a little bit of a break because I was exhausted. The sessions we had this morning were like went exactly kind of for the full time that they were scheduled. And then we jumped right into classes after that. I didn't really have the ability to take a break. I had actually gotten some material in the morning for another class or the last class I was waiting for. So I was kind of looking at that while I was eating lunch. So I really didn't take much of a break until about half an hour ago or so. So there's a few things that I want to do right now. And there's actually a textbook that I need to, well, I need to spend money, but I gotta basically rent it. It's much cheaper. And because I'm so far away from campus, because I'm doing this remotely for the first little bit, I think the ebook is really the only option. I gotta do that because I think the first I can get, like, the book is like, I don't even know. I think it was like sometime like a week from like next week, which is too late on Amazon. So I gotta see if I can figure out how to get this ebook. I also wouldn't mind going through and maybe organizing some of the notes for the midterm class because I need to start making the flashcards for Anki for that. I did okay with the stuff that we did today, but I definitely struggled with some of it, so I need to get working on that. I may also want to start organizing notes for some of these other classes too. That's kind of what I'm going to try and figure out right now. Okay, so this one app that I have is called PDF Gear, I believe. And I absolutely love it. I was able to set it as my default for opening everything. And I'm able to convert like everything basically into a PDF. So it's great. PDFs are so much easier to annotate. Let's see if I can figure out how to get this PowerPoint, or not PowerPoint. What am I talking about? If I can get this textbook downloaded. All right, hello everyone. About 10 to 4 now. I just got my e-textbook. So unfortunately, I just only get access to this for like a year, but hopefully I won't need it again. This course just is for the first semester. It's actually like the only course I've had to spend any money on, like a ebook or a textbook or anything. Everything else in the program so far has been like either there's a free version of the textbook or there's like just free resources that we get as being a student in the program, which has been really helpful for saving money. I love that part of it. It's been nice actually. $80 later. I gotta figure out, I guess, now what I need to do basically. This course that is in here that I need a textbook for is like a communications class. Now, I think it makes a lot of sense as a pharmacy technician what you need good communication skills because you're on the phone, you're talking with other medical professionals like doctors sometimes, other pharmacists, other technicians, you're talking with patients. There's such a range when you're in the pharmacy. So it's really important that you be able to communicate and be able to communicate in multiple different ways because some people have disabilities that make it hard for them to communicate. I will catch you in a little bit. I don't know how much I'm going to do today. Maybe I'll end up doing a lot of work tomorrow with these stuff. I'm kind of tired today. I was kind of feeling overwhelmed, we'll put it that way. And then I had some tech issues yesterday afternoon, so I was a little bit stressed out about that, but today seemed to work okay. I think I am gonna get a hardwire though in for my computer. I think that'll help. Everything worked fairly well today, so I'm almost like, maybe I don't need the hardwire, but I think I'm gonna need it when I'm gonna be doing a lot more stuff. Like I was bouncing back and forth today on my second screen. This is just the textbook. So here's my second screen. So what I do is I have my stuff over here that I'm working off of, and then I spend a lot of time actually over here on this second screen. I guess let me know what you guys want to see with these vlogs. I'm gonna be basically in this one spot all the time. So I don't really know what to show. When I actually start getting into a little bit more content, today there wasn't much. The biggest thing that I got into today that I really enjoyed was a little bit on antibiotic resistance, and we went through a video that I watched actually last night because I thought I had to watch it for today's class. The guy was really entertaining. It was like a TED Talk basically. Also, another thing I almost wonder if I shouldn't do is print out the schedule that I need to have up for the week. Like I've got my schedule for like quizzes and stuff in here, but I almost wonder if I shouldn't do one page at a time on the schedule to make sure that I'm in the right Zoom session. So I might actually do that too. These post-its have been great because if I think of something I need to do, I can just like post it right here and it's still right here. I can actually take this other one off because I've got it now. So I just need a paper recycling bin in here for sure. I need to start organizing the midterm stuff, but I might do that tomorrow for like a homework kind of deal. What I might do actually is save everything now for tomorrow and spend a little bit of time doing work tomorrow. I think maybe if I do stuff tomorrow, I'll include it in this vlog because it's relevant to this week. I think what I'm probably gonna do actually is go and edit for a little bit. Hey, good morning everyone and happy Saturday, August 31st. I can't believe it's like the last day of August already. I would like to actually take a little bit of a break this weekend. I would like to take both Sunday and Monday off. I have a bit of a checklist that I want to do for today. Now, I'm not going to be able to take complete break because once I start the Anki cards, it's something I gotta do every day to reinforce it. But I would like to actually take most of the next couple days off. So I do have a little bit of a list for today. As I go through this too, if there's anything that's sort of interesting, I think I'm gonna pop on here. And one of the ways you can learn is actually summarizing it to like people who have no idea what's going on. So I kind of would like to do that, especially when I'm reviewing my notes, and it'll allow me to share too some of the content that I'm covering, which might interest some of you actually quite a bit, because for those of you who, for example, are in the US and don't know much about Canada's healthcare system and want to know more about it, I think it's a great idea to learn a little bit more about it and how it works. And you're going to get a little bit more of the pharmacy view, particularly for me, because that's what I'm going to be learning about is how the pharmacy system works, which is a little bit different compared to how the kind of provincial healthcare system works to a way. But there is a public part of the pharmacy system that is billed to the government. So there is a public paying system for medications, but there's differences because with medications, people are often dealing with co-pays and stuff like that, which is something that we don't have at all when it comes to like actually getting medical care. There's some guaranteed rights as well that you kind of get as being a Canadian, and that is access to healthcare. And One of the ways that it was summarized yesterday actually was it is designed to help the people who need it the most. So those who can't afford drugs, there are programs that can help them out. And those who are of certain ancestry, such as native populations, there's help for them as well. Or like really, really young, really, really old kind of thing. Like the most vulnerable parts of our society generally tend to get help, which is a very different concept, especially compared to the US. We didn't really dive into a whole bunch of material yesterday, except for in the med terminology. We did like 3 sections. And even then, it didn't really feel like a whole bunch, but just like looking at the concepts was very new to me because I have never taken a med terminology course itself. Plan for today is I want to go over, so I have a class that starts on Tuesday that I need to go over the outline and add important dates to the calendar. There's quite a few of assignments, it looks like, in this course. I was just briefly reading the outline yesterday. There's also a textbook that I need to read according to the outline to prepare for class on Tuesday. It was recommended in the email that we got that we do that. I don't know if it was required or not, but it was at least pointed out, so I'm going to try and do that. The next thing is I need to start organizing notes and make Anki cards for med terminology. The first midterm is med terminology. It's a week from Monday. Like, this is a very fast course. It's done by mid-September. It's like a little shorter too. Like, it's basically just introducing us to how medical terms are formed. And it's basically so that we can break down words that we need to know for like understanding everything else. It actually makes a lot of sense to do a med terminology course before you actually start learning about medical things, basically. And then I want to start organizing the first notes from the 2 classes that I did have that weren't med terminology. So 184 for pharmacy and then micro 110. So the pharmacy 184 is like an agreements class, and we go over like different parts of, well, right now we're just covering like the basics of the Canadian healthcare system kind of thing. And then I need to organize the notes for micro 110. It was pretty straightforward. I mean, I know quite a bit about antibiotic resistance. It's something that I took quite in depth actually, because the way bacteria can use antibiotic resistance is actually one of the ways you can do genetic engineering. And then just some basic stuff. I need to fill out all forms that are due on September 6th. I put this as not a very high priority just because I feel like they're not going to take a long time to do. But if I have and feel like doing them, I could do them today. I want to try one of the fun quizzes using the lockdown browser. One of the things that I have to have is this thing called a lockdown browser, and we do it for our like quizzes and exams because we're remote. This is an online program, as you probably noticed by last week's video, or at least it's online for a significant portion of my first year. I think it's about 99%, 99.8% online. There is a little bit that I have to do in person in the spring. Right now it's all online. Next year, as far as I know, it's going to be hybrid, but there's a possibility that it could be a significant amount online and then again in person for a few weeks. So we were told to prepare for either one. And then I want to go over the info that might be needed for classes on Tuesday. I think what I'm going to do actually is to keep myself organized in here is post a weekly schedule, because if I do it weekly, then I don't have to keep printing it out if it changes again. I want to print out that weekly schedule so that I make sure that I'm in the right spot at the right time. And also along those lines, I need to make sure the Zoom links are all there on Outlook. Some of them populate actually naturally as the way we're sent out Zoom links. They do it as a like invite to it. So we're just able to hit respond and click yes, and then it populates our calendar. The nice thing about that is it sets it up so that I can just pull up my Outlook calendar, and then each class I can just put join meeting. It worked really well actually. It was really nice and didn't have to keep clicking back and forth. I'm probably not going to get everything done, but I'd like to do quite a bit. So one of the things that I've been really enjoying about being able to be down here right in the spot is I can have my blanket on me and be comfortable. I did a lot of studying on campus when I was in university because I couldn't focus when I was at home. I have adjusted a desk to be like the height I want it to be, and if I want to, I can stand up and all of that. I haven't been doing much standing in the last couple of days just because I've been tired and like I'm so used to sitting when I study. I don't know, maybe that'll change as things get going here. Although if I am going to be starting to do a lot more sitting, I haven't noticed it yet, but I think I may want to look into getting a different office chair. This isn't the most comfortable one on the planet. I'm going to get started here and I'll check in a little later. Hey everyone, sorry I've got my headphones on right at the moment, but I'm using these particularly because I'm trying to get used to them. But what I want to talk about is just something I'm reading about with this interpersonal communications course. It's not really what I'm reading, it's more about how I'm reading it. So I needed actually one textbook for a class this semester. I really like this program that they have. So this is through, what is it called? Vital Source. And it's actually something that is linked to the school that I'm in. It's really nice because they have a text function that allows you to read and listen at the same time. I sometimes find reading can be a little difficult with having migraines. Like I find that the light can be really hard on my eyes after a while and I can find it really hard to concentrate. So anytime now that I'm given this feature, I take full advantage of it. And I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it's like a text to read type function. So it'll read you what you're reading. So it's like an audio book that way, but then you can also read along with the words. It's just so helpful. I really, really like this feature. Actually, the program that we use for like all of our material through my school also uses this as in its like interface. It's actually an accessibility feature from what I understand, but I personally really like it, just like I said, because it makes it so much easier to read content and it's more like making it into a podcast, which is if I was to choose how I wanted to like kind of consume content, I like podcasts because I can speed it up to whatever I feel like I can interpret the information. And speeding it up actually also allows me to read a little faster at the same time. So it's great. I absolutely love it. So I just wanted to come on here and just talk about that. More things on this like digital media need to have this, in my opinion. Okay, so I absolutely love when this happens, but like, I'm interested in a lot of different like psychology type stuff, and we often talk about this a lot in the one group I'm in with ZDoggMD, and I just got to read here. Well, I'm just getting into the topic of Maslow's hierarchy. So, Maslow's hierarchy, for those of you who have never heard of this concept before, is a really fascinating one. And I've been fascinated with this ever since I first heard of it. But essentially, you need to in order to like satisfy happiness, you have to start off with like your physical needs, your desire for like food, water, shelter kind of thing, like the basic things that you need. And then safety comes after that. So once your physical needs are satisfied, then you need to have safety needs. And then it goes into social needs. And the coolest thing about this is that each one builds upon the other. So if something becomes compromised, you're not able to focus on those higher tiers, essentially. I love this concept, and we talk about it in terms of like what kind of leads to the spiritual seeking out too of your life. And if you haven't satisfied that basic part of Maslow's hierarchy for the pyramid, you're not often going to be interested in those other things. So I just wanted to come on here and just talk about, because I love when that happens because of like my curiosity and all of that with so much stuff. Like sometimes I end up coming into contact with things that I have done just in my personal time. Okay, so I am just going over and reviewing some of my notes from yesterday in class. And I thought I'd share this with you guys. So you might be wondering how Canada does this with the healthcare. Many of you might not realize it's not just a blanket, everything is covered. Also, what you may not realize is that healthcare is actually like a provincial responsibility. So this means that it's administered actually at the provincial level. And so it's kind of a misnomer to be saying like healthcare in Canada because it's very different depending on the province you live in. When I talk about the kinds of things in healthcare that I'm going to be sharing, it's specific to where I live, which is in Saskatchewan, and this is also where I'm studying. That is on purpose. The basic things that are covered by healthcare include things in the hospital. This could be either on the wards or what is called outpatient, which is when you go in and have a procedure done and then you leave. This is maintaining health, preventing disease, treating an injury, an illness, disability, all of those type of things, all covered, no questions asked with your health card. Also, anything that is considered medically required by a medical doctor is also covered. However, not everything is covered. And some of these may surprise you. So, prescription drugs are not covered. There are some things that you can have help with and all of that. And I'll get into that as I get farther into the course. Dental care, optometry, chiropractic, even ambulance services. So let's say you do have an emergency and you need to seek emergency assistance. The ambulance ride to the hospital, not covered unless you have insurance. Once you get there, you're good, but the ambulance to get there, not covered. And so these additional things can be covered by health insurance, often like through a job, like through work or those type of things. And also you generally get this kind of coverage for different population groups such as children, so 0 to 18, seniors, those over 65, people on social assistance, basically those who can't afford it. What's covered will vary a lot depending on what province you're in. I know that in Saskatchewan here, we do have supports and all of that in place for people with low income. So if you show that you have a lower income by releasing your income for the year to the government, they'll actually only make you pay a certain amount for your prescriptions. That's one of the things that I've come into contact with. Not only have I benefited from it myself when I've been before when I was unable to work. I don't remember if I had it during school, but I didn't really need a lot of prescriptions at that time in my life, so I don't know if that counts. But often when you're in school, you do have some type of extra coverage. It's just that for special things, sometimes those aren't always covered depending on who's covering it. This video is probably getting quite long at this point. I don't really think there's really anything that I want to like just talk about with regards to the microbiology. It was pretty straightforward. It was basically what is it and like diving a little bit into antibiotic resistance, but we didn't really do a whole bunch. So I'm just going to review those set of slides now. I'm going to leave this vlog here. That's basically all I'm doing for the rest of the day, other than I might fill out these forms that I have to do. I'm probably not going to submit them yet, but I'm going to fill them out. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and thanks for watching. If you're enjoying watching me share what it's like going through school for pharmacy technicians, not really much into that yet, but it will be. Feel free to subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss any of my upcoming videos. If you guys have any questions that you want me to answer, feel free to leave them in the comments, whether it's about the program itself or whatever questions you have, feel free to leave them down below. I'd be happy to try and answer them. I think that's it for this one, so I'm going to leave it here. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.